Okay, kids, a couple of goals here today as you begin the Jukebox project. Goal number one is to introduce you to Adobe Premiere, give you a little bit of a point around the interface, and then we'll show you the settings of how to get yours created so that you can get started. The thing that's going to feel really weird is that the interface and the buttons are in totally different locations. So want to do a tour of the 6 different parts of the interface that you need to be comfortable with first. So at the very top here is your sort of perspective or set of modes. For what we're doing here together, I'm going to suggest you leave this on the editing mode. Now as we point this out here on editing, notice how it's in blue. And blue is the color of what is active in Premiere. And you'll notice a couple other things that are active at this moment. You're going to notice that my pointer tool is active in the toolbar here. So it is a little bit weird that the toolbar is towards the bottom of the screen here, but that's its location. And you'll also notice that the panel in the bottom right is my active panel at the moment. As I click between the different panels here, notice how that it lights up the one that's active with a blue border. So we're going to step our way around the interface here, just giving you a little bit of information about them. So our toolbox here, we want to leave this on the pointer tool like 99% of the time for what we're doing. In the bottom right here, we are going to see the timeline or the sequence. It can be referred to either as timeline or sequence. This is going to be broken into a couple of different parts here. There are the video tracks, which are going to create the video that you see. And there are the audio tracks. So in this one, we're just going to have one audio track with a song in it. I've got mine muted right now with the mute button, just for this introduction here. So I've got my song here in A1, and you can see the little green zigzags here. That shows the song. And I've got pictures in the first video track, which is where my background image is. And I've got some text in the video track on top of it. So these kind of stack from bottom up, and that's why it goes 1, 2, 3 going up the tracks. The video window that shows what you are watching is in the top right here, and this is called the program panel. And this is going to show you whatever is the blue cursor in the sequence panel. So notice how as I slide around here, I've got a little bit of an animation to my text. And then here's my second 10 seconds worth of video. I've got some new text on here and a new background. As we go to create some video and put things together, the project panel is where we're going to start adding them. So in this panel here, I've got a series of pictures and audios and that sort of thing. So if I were to double click on, let's say, my album cover here, it's going to let me preview it in the top left panel here. So this is called the source panel, and this is for just looking at what something is. And we can just do a quick little preview and just have a look at each of my pictures, or you can also double click on your song, which is going to be in kind of a lighter green here. And if you want to play it, you can hit play. Notice how that this is 3 minutes and 58 seconds long, which makes sense with it being the length of a full song. This panel has 2 modes. It's got list mode and icon mode. Both are useful. If you're doing pictures work, icon mode is pretty helpful. If you're just working your way through and grabbing audio and stuff, sometimes I like list view, but you can flip back and forth here however you like. Make sure that you don't, however, lock the project down here. So you want to keep it as writable. So be careful with misclicks there, because that can be kind of a pain in your butt. Okay, so our goal here now is to get our project created. So you can accomplish this by going to New Project, either right here on the interface with your New Project button, or you can go up to the top menu bar and go File, New Project. And we need to do 3 things in this panel here. We need to give it a name, which should have your name and your song title. So I'm going to do one based on Learn to Fly, which is the Foo Fighters. And then our location here, this is our save as. So when we're doing Premiere projects, we have to do save as right at the very beginning because it needs to save right away. So let's go to Browse and go save it into your OneDrive. And I've got a folder in here called Jukebox, and I'm going to click Select Folder. And really important, at the school, we've had trouble with the GPU acceleration, which is the graphics card in the computers. So let's turn that one off. So on the renderer, let's change it to software only. The rest of the defaults are fine, and you can click the OK button. Now, this will create the basics of the interface, but please notice in the timeline here, it says no sequences, and we don't have our video tracks yet. So we need to create that. So let's go to File, New, Sequence. And Adobe Premiere has a zillion different formats. The one that we want to use here is 720p 30 frames per second. And the reason for that is that the projector in our classroom is only 720p, so there's no benefit to us going any higher quality than that. So open up the folder for HDV, click on 720p 30, which is the last one, and then in the name at the bottom, type in your song title, Learn to Fly. And then you can click OK. Notice how we've now got audio tracks, video tracks, and we've got our set of settings in the project panel. Our next step now is to go to our folder of files in File Explorer, and let's start adding in our photos. So really important, when we're adding photos here, we want to add them into the project panel in the bottom left. So I've got these open kind of to the right side of my screen, and I'm going to do these one at a time and watch what happens. So I'm going to start by adding in my album cover, and I'm going to drag it right into the project panel. Notice how it had an import dialog that popped up, and I've now got a photo. Let's double click on it and let's have a look. That seems good. And now we can continue adding our photos. So remember, photo number 2 should be one of at least your singer. If it's got the full band in it, that's great. And now you can have 3 more photos. Anything fun of your choice, it's totally up to you. And let's add in your song as well. So remember from last week, you recorded your song, you did it with Audacity. As you're adding in the song though, do not drag in the icon that's got the headphones on it. That file will not load in Premiere. If you do that, it's going to come up with an error saying file format not supported. So really important that you add in the M4A file. That's the one that you exported out of Audacity at the end. If you're not sure which one it is, the best thing to do is change your view to details mode and then look at the type column. You should see one that says Audacity project file. That's no good, that's the headphones icon. But you should see another one in here that says either M4A or audio file or something like that. The size, you would expect it to be between 4,000 and 10,000 KB, something like that. Drag that one into the project panel, and hopefully you will get some song information about it. So you can see how I've got a 3-minute 58-second long song in here. Now we can start assembling in the different parts of the video. So I'm going to start with my album, dragging it into V1, the first video track. Now the bar for this came up really, really tiny. So below your panel here at the bottom, here is your zoom level. And drag this so that you can see what's going on. Now you can keep dragging these in one at a time. The default for each of these is that they come up 5 seconds long. So for your first one, that's perfect. After the first one, these should be somewhere around 10 seconds long. So go ahead and use the red bracket here and drag them to the 10-second duration. And you can always come back and adjust these later. These can be anywhere between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seconds long, just based on how your song goes, how the lyrics are sung, and what makes sense for your video. But let's start these out with 10 seconds apiece. So now I'm going to drag in number 3. I can roll my scroll bar over a little bit and adjust my length. There's 10 seconds. I'm going to grab one of the sunset. Again, drag it up to about 10 seconds. And one of the skyline. And drag that one up to 10 seconds. And once I've done that, if I drag my scroll bar over, notice how now my video playhead is at the 45-second mark, which matches with up here at the top, showing that the video is now 45 seconds long. If I now zoom out and roll my cursor back to the very beginning, I should now be able to play and show the video just having some pictures in it. So that's a perfect beginning to this. The next thing that we can do is we can start resizing all of our photos. So the way to do that, we're going to want the Effect Controls panel. So let's go to the Window menu bar and bring up Effect Controls. Now, oftentimes when yours comes up, it'll show up on the right side of the screen here somewhere. I like joining that onto the top left one here. That's a nice place for it. Now, place your cursor on the photo that you want to resize, and then click on the photo to select it. Now notice how the Effect Controls has brought up some options on the photo that we have selected. The motion part of this brings up some resizers, which I can drag and resize. Notice the black part in behind here, that's the video window. So we want to fill that up. And now I can do that with each of my photos, selecting the motion part. Now you may have to scroll it over to the side in order to grab it. And let's continue dragging and resizing. And you can work your way through the rest of them as well.